Welcome to the DFL Breakdown, presented by GrizLeeGear, with your hosts, Lucas Ford and Ricky Epperson.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the DFL Breakdown, the number one cartoon side character themed, league-specific, monthly fantasy football podcast in the world. It's been a few weeks, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to get some episodes for you here, especially with the holidays coming around. It has been busy, and I got a lot of things going on in my personal life as well, but I have missed doing these episodes for you guys, so I wanted to get one out before the playoffs started here, because it is the start of the playoffs in the Dimmadome. The last I checked in with you guys, the race was still kind of on, but the race is over. We know where everyone has shaken out. I, once again, invariably have been defeated and eliminated from playoff contention and am on a straight shot to my regular perennial 7th or 8th place finish. The story is not the same for others, though. We still got a lot of exciting action to look at moving ahead here. Since it's been a few weeks, I'm not going to try to go back and break down everything that has happened over the last couple of them. We're just going to look at the matchups for the playoffs here and what's happening in the toilet bowl, kind of catch us back up, get back into the swing of things, and see what's happening in the playoffs in the Dimmadome. Real quick note to make before we move into what's going to be straight into the projection preview. The mascot of our league his spirit has died. The Dimmadome, of course, Doug Dimmadome is the inspiration behind it all, and the voice actor that plays Doug Dimmadome did pass away. So, real sad stuff there. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. You know, that guy's a legend, and glad he was able to at least inspire the best fantasy football league in the entire universe. All right, let's go ahead and just run straight into that projection preview. Like I mentioned, talk about these playoff matches and what's happening in the toilet bowl in week 15 of the Dimmadome.
Projection preview.
All right, only 4 matchups this week. We've got 4 teams that are on bye, the number 1 and the number 2 seed in the playoffs, as well as the 11th and 12th seed in the Toilet Bowl. So they will be moving on to next week. We don't have any of those guys in this one. To clarify, that is Alex and Ricky skipping out this week. Both finished 20-8. And earned themselves a first-round bye going into the playoffs. And in last place and second to last, we've got Riley and Eric. Not going to be playing this week in the Toilet Bowl. They're moving straight on to the semifinals there. So let's look at what's left. We've already had some action on Thursday. This was the only team that managed to get some points out of it, were the Hamburglers and Lehman's team, which is now for sale by owner, which is not true. You can't sell an apartment yourself. You're only renting the spot from me, buddy. I'm the landlord. You don't get to sell it, and you don't get to profit. But in any case, it's a sign of things to come. Anyway, we got Bucky Irving only scoring him 8.1 points in that Thursday matchup between Atlanta and the Bucks, where the Bucks lost that upset game. Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka still got 30 points for Nate, though, so that's where this one is starting out. Jalen Hurts has been kind of falling apart here, so this one's interesting to see what's going to happen with Nate here. I mean, he only scored 90 points in the last week of the regular season, playing for his life, trying to get that playoff spot. His team completely crumbled on him. So we'll see if they manage to win out here with a big head start, or if they crumble again and move Nate further into the toilet bowl. It's unlikely, though, with the way things are looking. Lehman is in a bad spot already, in a 25-point deficit due to projections here. Ashton Genty, again, behind that line against the Eagles. That's a tough matchup for him. Brock Purdy's been inconsistent, but he is playing against Tennessee, so that's a positive. He's got Ted McMillan and Brian Thomas rounding out his wide receiver core, which at the beginning of the season be really excited about. Now you think Tet's definitely better than Brian Thomas, which is a surprise. Manungai's been great for him recently. You know, I was hating on Big Chungus for a while, but he's been doing pretty good. He's been consistent, keeps scoring touchdowns. Lehman's hoping for more of that. And he's also got Dalton Schultz, Jaden Higgins, and was it Alexander Highsmith, maybe, possibly? Alex Highsmith, yeah. A solid lineup, but it landed him here in the toilet bowl for a reason. You know, we'll see if he's able to put it together. But like we said, Nate has got a big lead. He's got Travion Henderson going as well, Chase Brown, and Brenton Strange, Rashi Rice, Quinshawn Judkins, Brian Burns, and Carson Schwessinger rounding it out for his IDP guy. I'm going to give it to Nate here. I think he wins out and gets out of the toilet bowl with this one. He got a big head start, and he's going to close it out today. All right, let's take a look now at the other toilet bowl matchup. It's left here. It's me versus Corey. I've taken out Josh Allen and put in Phillip Rivers, who's playing his first game since 2020. He's starting against the Seahawks. Both our seasons are basically over, and I want Josh Allen to lose today against the Patriots. I'm also playing against Josh Allen in a playoff matchup in another league, so I'm just hoping he fails. So here's Phillip Rivers instead. I thought it'd be funny to start him after it's been 5 years since he's been in the league, and that's what I'm doing. We got a couple old men here. Phillip Rivers, Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Aaron Jones. Just a lot of old guys on these teams here, kind of rounding things out. Even Travis Kelce as well. You know, I talked to Corey yesterday, and he blamed Travis Kelce's decline for the reason he landed in the toilet bowl. But you know, for fantasy, Travis has been great this year. He had one bad game last week, but Corey lost by 90 points. So can't blame that on Travis. In the weeks before, the losses weren't really his fault. Unless you're really mad about a Week 3 loss due to a 6.6 point finish. Yeah, wasn't Travis Kelce, Corey. Sorry about that. We'll see if he's able to help him, though, in this week versus the banished Ball Hogs. I still got my regular guys. This game is supposed to be trash, too. The Bears versus the Browns. It's supposed to be like gale force winds, possible snow, bad conditions. And I'm firing up 2 Browns. I could put Keenan in, but he's been kind of bad. I could put Booty in. I think I'm going to put Booty in. Booty over Judy. I got my Judy points. He's not going to score again, right? You know, screw firing Judy up. We're going to get him out of here, and we're going to put him straight into the Shadow Realm and get our boy Kayshon Booty fired up against Corey today. I'm betting big on the Patriots. We got Jordan Addison against Dallas tonight. That should be a great game as well. 9 is going to show up and deliver to both of these guys. Jefferson versus Addison in the same slot. Should be fun to see. I finally got Amarian Hampton back. He was great last week. Expecting more great things out of him this week. But he's playing against Achane in the same slot there. That is a tough matchup. RJ Harvey has been breaking out. He's been getting a bunch of good points, especially with J.K. Dobbins missing. This is the trend that I'm trying to ride here, and it looks like he keeps scoring 20-plus points. That is what I want. Rounding it out with Ginkle and Landman. They've been playing good recently as well. Corey's got Cooper DeJean and Foyesade Oluokun. He's not putting Drake May in? Come on, brother! Put Drake May in! Put him in! Put him in! Need some Drake May action in this game. All right. After we finished with that matchup, let's talk about our playoff matchups. We've got the return of the Retard Bowl here. It's the Osama bin Darnold's versus the retarded YN, Sal versus Dylan. Jackson Dart making an appearance again for Dylan. He managed to squeak his way into the playoffs with a couple key wins in the last few weeks, but see if he can keep that train rolling. He's relying on Ramondre Stevenson to help him in his running back department. Doesn't have much else to do there. He's fielding 4 wide receivers otherwise, in Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Xavier Worthy, and Cortland Sutton. So it's projected to be close. It's projected to be within a point. I'd say if there were any way to wager, you'd have to go with the history. Sal has been overperforming this year, especially with the Darnold and JSN stack. So we'll see if they're able to get it done versus Indy and carry Sal to a win today. He looks full strength. We had some concerns about Josh Jacobs, but he's playing, so he will be in versus Denver. A tough matchup, but Josh Jacobs has been consistent. Chuba Hubbard has been kind of re-emerging. He had a really slow middle of the year after the injury, but he came back big before the bye. And Sal is relying on him here. Also relying on Michael Wilson with the absence of Marv over the last few weeks. That has been really great for Sal as well. Kamir Dike, I think, is the all-purpose yards leader in the NFL this year, which you wouldn't get from looking at his box score for receiving. It's mostly because he has been returning a ton. Look at all this. 144, 162, 141, 136, 175, 117, 98. Like, just 100 plus a game is his average in return yards. He is just getting a ton of yards, but those don't count for us. So we'll see what he ends up scoring in the receiving game. He's been kind of making himself more known in the receiving game as of late, but playing against the Niners today. If I had to give it to this one, I believe I said already I'd give it to Sal. I'm doubling down on it. I think Sal wins this one by 5 points, maybe even less. Yeah, and if Dylan wins, it's going to be because Jackson Dart goes nuts against Washington. Their defense has been terrible as of late. And we could see maybe a touchdown or two from Ramondre Stevenson. That would help him quite a bit. All right. We talked about our Retard Bowl rematch. It's time for the sleepers versus the homeless losers. In the other end of the bracket here, Artie is coming in with the higher seed, but not by much. This is basically a 16-12 record versus a 17-11 record. Both good, strong teams. Had a little bit of a hell scare with CMC earlier in the week, but they came out right after and said, no, he's fine, he's playing. Especially against Tennessee, that's supposed to be a smash matchup, so you want him to play in that one. But especially if he's having any sort of injury concerns, if they get out ahead early, he may not end up carrying the team and getting a ton of volume. Devin Neal getting fired up for Artie with Kamara out. Devin Neal's been getting a ton of work. That's been great for him. He's also got Amon-Ra and Jared Goff stack going against the Rams. This is a huge game for the Lions, basically a playoff matchup here. If they don't win, they may never be able to make it after this, so definitely looking for a win on that one. He's firing up Stephon Diggs versus Buffalo. I think this is going to be a big game for him. Stephon Diggs has a ton of incentives left in his contract that he still has to average hittable metrics, but high-end ones. I think he needs at least 4 or 5 receptions on average per game with like 70 yards or something for him to make another like $2 million by the end of the year on his contract. He's got so many incentives. So this is crunch time. They want to win all these, and Stephon Diggs has been saving the gas for now. We saw what he did against Buffalo last time. I think he's going to do it again this week. Olave going versus the Panthers. He's got Micah Parsons going versus Denver. All good stuff. It's a solid lineup. I don't see too many weak spots for Artie. For Chris, he's got Dak going versus Minnesota. Christian McCaffrey, we talked about. James Cook in that game versus the Patriots. That should be a close one. Khalil Shakir as well. He's rooting for the Bills in that one, unfortunately. Wan'Dale Robinson getting fired back up. Our Giants are kind of returning to the fold after having a bye week. And, of course, he's relying on Nick Bonito still, who's been fantastic all year. He's got Jalen Waddle going on Monday, so he's going to have to wait for the conclusion of this one. I believe that's the only one out of that Steelers-Dolphins game in this matchup here, where they're going to be pretty much settled until then. So unless the game is completely out of hand for Chris here, and he's down by 50 points coming into Monday night, it's going to all come down to how well Jalen Waddle does against the Steelers. But either way, this matchup should be very close as well. It looks like Chris has the advantage due to the projections. I think it's going to be closer than that, though. 8 points is tough to see where it's going to differ. Amon-Ra versus Khalil is a hard matchup for Chris, but everything else is kind of in his favor. Lad McConkey for Nico is also rough here. But in any case, it's got a lot of implications. Let's take a quick look at the bracket before we move on, just to see kind of exactly what's going to be happening here. Alex with the bye will be facing the winner of Chris and Artie's matchup here, so he's watching that one closely. Ricky is also looking at the winner of Dylan and Sal's matchup, so he's going to be monitoring that one as well. On the other end, Riley is waiting for the the loser of me and Corey. And the winner will go to the Lucas Ford Invitational, the 7th, 8th place matchup here. And then the loser of Lehman versus Nate goes on to play against Eric next week. And the winner also goes to that 7th, 8th place matchup. A lot of stuff still to be determined in the Dimmadome, but we are coming down to it. Everyone knows where they're seated and what's happening in this bracket. Today is Sunday. It's game day. We only got a few more hours until the games, so definitely wanted to get this one out for you guys and at least look at the matchups. Let me give one more once over here just to see if there's anything else I would look at or any message I can send to the owners of these teams before we move on. I told Corey he's got to start Drake May. That's insane that he's not. Got to do it. So that would be the one change that I'd make in his lineup. Does he have anybody else worth starting? Other than that, I would keep it the way it is. For Artie and Chris, things look good for these guys. Do they have options on their bench? I'm definitely not starting Caleb Williams over Jared Goff. Kenneth Walker can stay on the bench over Etienne, and even Devin Neal, that is a called shot there. I'd be a little concerned with that one. Maybe that'd be the only thing I'd consider changing for him. Kincaid over Goddard is also a move. The projections say to go otherwise, so that is a called shot for Artie. Rooting for the Bills today in the snow in New England. Maybe I'd recommend against it. For Chris, I don't think he has many options as well on his bench. Yeah, nothing's happening here, and nothing is changing for him. He's got his lineup the way I would like it if I were him, so we'll see what happens with that. With these two guys, I talked about Chuba Hubbard kind of having a resurgence. I don't think Sal has many other options. He could go with Bam Knight or maybe Emmanuel Wilson, but he's been having a tough time in the RB department. It's a good thing he didn't start Rachaad White because he only scored 3.6 points. We've got a diversion from Bo Nix, and that is the move that I would make as well if I was Dylan, so good to see him do it. He's got Jackson Dart in there in a great matchup versus Bo Nix in a bad matchup. You'll love to see it. I looked at Tyjae Spears versus Ramondre Stevenson earlier. Again, I'm rooting for the Patriots in this game. I think they're just going to win, so I'm agreeing with the Ramondre Stevenson play there. Even Hunter Henry in his tight end slot should serve him well, we're hoping. Yeah, wouldn't make any other changes for him as well. So, good lineups there, guys. We've got one more to look at, which is already pretty much halfway done. Nate talked about wanting to get gosh, I mean, Lehman benched Kyle Pitts, and Kyle Pitts got 3 TDs, 11 receptions, and 166 yards. It's just typical for Lehman's season here to have something like that happen to him, but I wouldn't change anything else. He's got his team set up the way he likes it. For Nate, he was talking about trying to get the rest of his Bucks players in. Didn't manage to do so before the game, but I think his lineup is optimal at this point here. So that is going to do it for the matchups. There's only 4 of them here, so not a ton to break down. And like I said, we're kind of done looking in the rear view at this point. Until next week, where we see how these playoff matchups have finished off. But until then, I wanted to say thank you guys. It's been a long season, and we're coming right down to it. Obviously, I was a little sad to be eliminated from the playoffs again, and made it hard to want to break down the games on top of being busy and everything here. So, sorry for the lack of episodes the last couple weeks, but yeah, love you guys. Wanted to get this one out for you and enjoy the games today. I'll be watching what happens between my team and Corey's team with Corey at his daughter's birthday party at his house later, so that should be fun. We're going to, I'm sure, poke and chide each other about what's happening in the games, and I am hoping that the Patriots just absolutely dumpster the Bills today in the snow. But for everybody else, good luck. Thanks again for listening. I hope that everything goes well for you and you manage to make it to the next round, or you play yourself out of the toilet bowl if you're still in it. Have a good one, guys. Talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to the DFL Breakdown. Tune in next week for more.